At a pivotal time in the slow-rolling border catastrophe, ¿de dónde es? We're at ground zero for the chaos.
As you can see, the disaster we've had ever since changes of presidents.
And you've been here 20 years. How would you characterize today's situation over time?
1,000% difference from when I first got here.
The battle at the border now is not just to keep illegal immigrants out, but one between Texans trying to stop a human tidal wave and our own federal government. Does the state have a right to secure its own border?
Well, I think basically what the governor's trying to do, because we're being invaded, basically.
When 3 American soldiers were killed by an Iranian-backed terrorist group, there were calls for action.
We got to deal with them as a group. It's not just a one-off.
And calls for caution.
What I learned, especially serving in the Middle East, is that it's an incredibly complicated place where nothing is black and white. And you really need to be smart, thoughtful, and strategic about how you choose to respond.
Following U.S. strikes, a look at the larger issue of how to deal with Iran.
In this remote American desert, there's a search underway for a critical resource.
Our modern weapons platforms would not be able to exist, so you could say helium is essential to our national defense.
This week, the rising demand for helium.
Welcome to Full Measure. I'm Sharyl Attkisson. We begin with the border crisis that some officials say has turned into catastrophe. Right now, there's an epic battle in Texas over whether states have the right to protect their own borders from illegal foreigners entering when the federal government won't do it. 3 years into the Biden administration, illegal border crossings continue to shatter all-time records with well over 7 million southwest border encounters in 3 years. The House is moving to impeach Biden's Homeland Security Secretary over the chaos. Today, we return to Eagle Pass, Texas, ground zero for growing controversy, and where we find big changes since our last visit a year and a half ago. And as the crisis has worsened, Texas has increasingly crossed swords with the Biden administration. As the sun rises on Eagle Pass, Texas, one of the first changes we discover is it's now harder for the media to get a front row seat to the historic border chaos. Since our last visit to Eagle Pass, authorities have cut off access to the place where many of the illegal border crossings happen under that bridge. To be clear, they haven't cut off access to the illegal border crossers. They've cut off access to the media. So while foreigners can still cross at will, the credentialed press are restricted from public property where we could see it. The local sheriff, Maverick County's Tom Schmerber, agrees to get us into the restricted area bordering the Rio Grande. Barbed wire put up by the state is another new feature since our last visit. Tattered clothes mark a popular route. Like most of America's border towns, Maverick County, Texas, is dominated by Democrats who don't see eye to eye with President Biden on this issue.
Trump years, I know that he kept them on the other side of Mexico, and he stopped. It was stopped. Then when this administration came in, it's like they opened the borders. Now we have this new president. She's going to open the doors and open the arms, and they started crossing.
Hola, bienvenido. ¿De dónde es? This group tells us they've just come in from Honduras and Venezuela.
They step under the containers.
They're bound for Houston.
I've had burglars from other countries. One time we had one individual from Honduras that raped an old lady, 74 years old.
If you were to catch somebody who had come into the U.S. illegally, are you allowed to arrest them, hold them, send them back?
No, not now, not right now.
Sheriff Schmerber shows us another recent feature of the border crisis under Biden. too many unidentified bodies to bury.
Some people drowned in the river, and some died in the brush.
And a trailer to store them.
It's a big freezer, and we have 23 bodies there right now. That now I'm responsible for this.
How do you feel about that?
I don't like it. I wish somebody else would take over.
Nearby, a deputy drives us to see another addition to the landscape.
It's a recent build, about a year ago.
A giant federal facility built to hold and process masses of foreigners. So this is in response to the surge we're all hearing about on the news all the time.
Yes, ma'am. Just about 2 weeks ago, we had a surge of about 4,500 people across the river.
In a week?
Yes, ma'am. Oh, in a day.
In a day?
In a day.
Attendants ask us to leave.
Oh, y'all can take pictures from the site.
Certain times that they'll cross.
Next, we meet up with Sergeant Rennie Cordova from the Texas Department of Public Safety. Even before we can start our interview, we see a group wading across the frigid river from Mexico. Two head back, probably guides we're told, who will return with more.
As you can see, the disaster we've had ever since changes of presidents.
And you've been here 20 years. How would you characterize today's situation over time?
1,000% difference. From when I first got here, you would never ever see this many people crossing the river. You could actually catch some people in a vehicle, 4 or 5, and that was a good day.
Up the river a ways, Cordova shows us new state additions since the Biden surge. Besides coils of barbed wire, new open spaces where there used to be brush.
Now, it makes it a little bit more difficult for them to, they have no place to hide here.
So all the space was cleared. How long ago?
It's been within the past year and a half at least.
And then this is new.
Yes, the anti-climbing fence, in order to make it much harder for them not just to get underneath the wire, but they'll just look at it and see that it's more complicated now.
The state paid for this, not the federal government.
Yes. Everything that we have here along the border, everything's state funded.
The Texas Border Initiative is called Operation Lone Star. As part of it, Governor Greg Abbott has ignited criticism and praise by busing a fraction of the millions of illegal immigrants to sanctuary cities that invite and protect them from deportation. About 100,000 have been taken to L.A., Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., Denver, Chicago, and New York City.
We're not really sure which of the ones are going back. That's up to the U.S. Border Patrol and Customs.
Voy a ver a mi mamá después de 20 años.
He's going to go see his mom after 20 years.
But this dynamic is heading for a dramatic shift March 5th. A new Texas law will make illegal immigration a state crime. Local police will be able to make arrests rather than having to turn people over to Border Patrol, and the courts can order them back to Mexico. What are your thoughts as to what the state is trying to do when the federal government is not doing? Does the state have a right to secure its own border?
Well, I think basically what the governor's trying to do, he's trying to protect the citizens because we're being invaded, basically. Here, and this is actually the back door into the United States.
The sheriff wonders if the new law will create more headaches. Will that help change things, or what are the challenges?
Well, maybe it will help. I don't know how much. But for us, for all the sheriffs, it's going to be very difficult because we don't have the manpower to be after immigrants. To process one just individual takes me like 45 minutes, one individual. You're talking about a group of 30 or something like that. Where are you going to put them? I don't have the space in my jail, nor the time. So it's very scary and confusing. How are we going to do this job?
Can you give people an idea of the scope?
An idea would be what I saw back in December. There was one time that there were like 17,000 immigrants in one day, and it's no way that the deputies or the sheriffs can take care of that situation.
Even before the new law took effect, Texas began flexing its muscles. The week we visited Eagle Pass, the Texas National Guard took control of this same area, shutting out federal border patrol, which has been letting more and more foreigners come in illegally, even opening gates in the border fence. The Department of Justice and other advocates for illegal border crossers are arguing Texas's actions and the new law are unconstitutional. Meanwhile, it's hard not to notice that everywhere you look, someone's making a lot of money off the border crisis. Billions of dollars are going to federal and local agencies, nonprofits, and contractors for security, transportation, facilities, fencing, labor, processing, and supplies. The Mexican cartels are getting rich, too. They collect thousands of dollars from most every illegal border crosser, according to Border Patrol. That adds up to somewhere around $14 billion over 3 years. And that doesn't count the money they're making from all of the drugs they're moving across the porous southern border. The Biden administration blamed Texans for the drowning death of a woman and 2 children crossing illegally last month, claiming the Texas National Guard wouldn't let Border Patrol in to rescue them. But it turns out records show the 3 victims were already deceased long before Border Patrol notified the Guard and tried to get the access to the river. The Justice Department and other advocates for illegal immigrants are suing Texas over the new law that will let local police arrest, saying that law violates the Constitution. Coming up, as Islamic extremist terrorism heats up in the Mideast, what should the U.S. do? The murder of 3 American soldiers recently at a remote base in Jordan is heightening tensions and increasing the prospect of wider Mideast war. The attack by an Islamic extremist Iran-backed group set off immediate calls for a strong U.S. military response. But could that send America into a new war with Iran? Lisa Fletcher has spent the week gauging the mood on Capitol Hill.
The Mideast conflict changing gears Friday night with multiple U.S. airstrikes in Iraq and Syria. The Pentagon said it hit more than 85 targets, including command and control centers for Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps. U.S. Air Force B-1 Lancer bombers making the long round-trip flight from Texas to hit their targets. The American strike, a retaliation for the attack by the Iran-backed group that killed 3 U.S. soldiers at a remote base in Jordan. As the tensions in the region rose last week, so did the political pressure in Washington, where a steady chorus of Republicans called on President Biden to take decisive military action.
So, Mr. President, hit Iran and hit them now and hit them hard to protect Americans in harm's way.
Speaking before Friday night's airstrikes, Florida Republican Senator Rick Scott summed up the mood of many on Capitol Hill.
The president has been strongly criticized for his approach to the Middle East. Do you think he's on the right path?
No. I mean, we don't, first off, we have no idea what path he's on. We know that he has been weak with regard to Iran.
But as the president considered his options and calculated what response to make against Iran, he also heard from lawmakers who wanted him to take care America doesn't escalate the conflict into a full war.
What I learned, especially serving in the Middle East, is that it's an incredibly complicated place where nothing is black and white. And you really need to be smart, thoughtful, and strategic about how you choose to respond.
Democratic Congressman Seth Moulton of Massachusetts served 4 tours in Iraq as a Marine Corps officer. He's now on the Armed Services Committee.
What was your first thought when you heard that this militia group had attacked and killed U.S. soldiers?
My first thought was that Republicans are going to politicize this and demand an attack on Iran, which could literally play into our enemy's hands, could start a wider war in the Middle East.
So you said deterrence is hard, war is worse. I'm not sure that we've found the magical formula to deter ideologically based groups in the Middle East. What's your suggestion?
We haven't. I mean, that's just the honest truth. And some of my Republican colleagues who are criticizing this administration actually served in past administrations where they couldn't figure this out either. At the end of the day, let's make sure that we do everything we can to protect U.S. forces and U.S. interests, everything we can to diminish the power of our enemies, but not play into their hands in a way that could literally start a war that none of us want.
The White House has stressed that however hard it hits back at Iran's forces and proxy groups targeting America, it doesn't seek or want a wider Middle East war.
The president will not tolerate attacks on American troops, and neither will I. This is a dangerous moment in the Middle East. We will continue to work to avoid a wider conflict in the region, but we will take all necessary actions to defend the United States, our interest, and our people.
Senator Scott believes it's important for the U.S. president to show clear global leadership whenever there's a crisis.
The President of the United States has to be the world leader that says, look, Russia is a problem, China is a problem, North Korea is a problem, the Ayatollah is a problem. How are we going to deal with these regimes as a group? They are pariahs. We got to deal with them as a group. It's not just a one-off.
Does President Biden have the ability to do that?
If you look at history, he doesn't. I would not know what his foreign policy is. I mean, I'd have no earthly idea.
Moulton, with his deep experience in Mideast combat, says America's response needs to be, above all, thoughtful.
How careful does the U.S. have to be in terms of its response, whether it is going after the proxies or going directly after Tehran?
You know, in some ways, I don't like the word careful because it suggests that we should be cautious. And I don't want to be cautious here. I want to send a clear, decisive, strong message that this behavior will not be tolerated. But we've got to be smart. We've got to be smart about how we respond, do it on our timeline, under our terms, and really think carefully about how to send the exact right message, not just to these militia groups, but to Iranian leadership in Tehran.
With the conflict entering a new phase, there's the expectation U.S. forces will continue to face Iranian-sponsored attacks. And the White House has made it clear it will respond with force. For Full Measure, I'm Lisa Fletcher in Washington.
And it's worth remembering that there have been more than 160 attacks against U.S. military forces in the region in the last 3 months. Now, this is the first one that caused U.S. American military casualties. But since October, we've seen attacks almost daily by Iran's proxies.
Now, there's some who say, and always seem to say, that the president needs congressional approval to take certain further action. What is the thought?
Right. And the White House says they have all the authorization right now that they need. What we heard very clearly from Senator Scott, who's on the Intelligence Committee, is that he and his colleagues are not getting the information and the briefings that they need.
Thanks, Lisa. When we return, helium, it's not just for balloons. When I say helium, you might think balloons. But the fact is, helium has become such a hot commodity that some even call it liquid gold. Scott Thuman explains, reporting from the mountains of Arizona.
This is pretty out there, huh?
Yeah, it's started in '99, walking and driving, doing geology out there.
Robert Rolfing is what you might call a modern-day prospector, only he's not looking for gold or oil.
I did a lot of research looking for and checking water wells, looking for trace amounts of helium, and that is where I decided to concentrate.
This tiny but complex compound owned by Desert Mountain Energy is about 3 hours northwest of Phoenix, Arizona.
We are the first ones to have built a solar-powered helium extraction plant. No one else has done it. We're the first in the world. And we're not some big multi-billion-dollar company yet, by any means.
Why helium? Why does it matter so much?
Most people think of helium and balloons. That's the first thing that comes to mind. That is one of the last things we need to be using helium for. It is in a shortage. Number one use for helium, cool the magnets on an MRI. Number two, CAT scans.
Making the invisible gas nearly impossible to live without. And it's not only hospitals that rely on helium for high-tech scanners. The space industry uses it to pressurize and guide rockets. It's also a crucial ingredient for manufacturing semiconductor chips, from the kind in our smartphones to those used in military defense systems. We're talking about a really critical resource.
It is, and it's in a very definite short supply.
Morning. U.S. shortages were triggered when President Clinton signed a law transferring away federal control of helium production and distribution. The Russian invasion of Ukraine is a further setback to global supplies. Russia sits on top of the largest reserve of helium in the world, and sanctions will shut down almost all of that supply. So just how big is the demand? Well, Robert and his team say they could build about 300 more of these plants, and that still wouldn't meet all of North America's needs. In Phoenix, the need is real. A $40 billion semiconductor plant being built by a Taiwanese company is slated to open in 2025. Without helium, the factory will not operate.
It's very concerning that there is a growing global shortage of helium.
Congressman Doug Lamborn is a member of the House Armed Services Committee.
Our modern weapons platforms would not be able to exist without without what semiconductors produce, with the intelligence and the computing power that they generate. So you could say helium is essential to our national defense.
In the 1920s, the U.S. government started managing a strategic helium reserve located in a natural rock formation spanning from Texas to Kansas. It once held about 40% of the global supply. When President Clinton privatized the industry, gas in the reserve was auctioned off. Now, under President Biden's administration, the whole system has been auctioned off, stoking fears of further shortages.
American producers and the free market and commerce will take care of the situation eventually. Higher prices will mean more exploration and production.
People would call oil liquid gold. What do you call helium? Is it valuable like that?
It's more valuable.
Even more reason, he says, to keep the industry alive and well in the United States. For Full Measure, I'm Scott Thuman in Arizona.
And after a break, what's ahead next week on Full Measure? Coming up next week on Full Measure, how activists are able to change our language and definitions in real time to accomplish a political or social agenda. What do you think is the impact on a society when its official record of language and what words mean can change in real time as fast as it's changing today?
The impacts, I think, actually end up being rather dire, because official definitions of language really control the way that our law and policy works.
Controlling the words we use to talk about gender, illegal immigration, and more next week on Full Measure. We'll see you then, everybody. Thanks for watching.